Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our study of love. We are still in chapter 2, defining what is love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 tells us love does not dishonor others. Now we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 19, verses 35 and 36. You shall do no injustice in judgment, in measurement of length, weight, or volume. You shall have honest scales, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. One thing that often gets misrepresented about the Bible is when it says do not judge. What it's actually saying is do not judge unfairly. God is just and fair and expects his people to be the same. Do not be uneven in your dealings with others. Do not use different scales for the same measure between two people. In this example, an ephah, if I'm saying that correctly, is a unit of dry measure, about 3/4 of a bushel or 30 to 40 pounds. And a hin is a unit of liquid measure, which is about 3.5 liters or a gallon. This time period of the Old Testament was before coins were used for exchange. This was around 600 BC. So weights and measures of goods were used for trading. This passage refers to being fair in all exchanges and not shorting someone. So a lot of, factoids, little history to kind of give you information on that one. All right. Let's see. Now we're going to go to Proverbs. Like I said, I'm in Proverbs a lot for this study. Chapter 26, verses 17 to 28. He who passes by and meddles with strife, not belonging to him, is like one who takes a dog by the ears, like a madman who casts firebrands, arrows, and death. So is the man who deceives his neighbor, and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so it is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and go down into the innermost parts of the body. Burning lips and a wicked heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates dissembles with his lips, and lays up deceit within him. When he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness will be shown before the whole congregation. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it will return upon him. A lying tongue hates those who are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Right. This passage is like a poetic discourse on the lives of fools and the lazy, how much harm they can cause. At this time when that was written, dogs were not domesticated in Palestine. So to grab one, by the ears, like it said, it was considered very dangerous because, again, they were feral dogs. The one doing the grabbing deserves to be bitten for the unprovoked and foolish action, or at least that's how society viewed it at the time. The deceit causes serious damage, which cannot be dismissed as a simple joke. A talebearer can be called a liar, and their slander fuels the fire. Earthenware covered with silver dross refers to like crude implements covered in fine materials, which they did used to do. They used to take earthenware and, well, like it just said, and just a coat of silver and pass it off as all being silver. And we talked about that. You don't trade off like that. And the point of that is it looks nice, but it doesn't change what's at the core. Like, that's the deeper lesson there. The part that says 7 abominations. This refers to Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 to 19. We'll discuss that later in the study. I highly recommend you look at that. That is, to me, that is extremely important. That is how not to be. The ruin intended by the lies on others will come back onto the liar that spoke them. The truth will always come out eventually and condemn the liar. Now we're going to go to Ephesians chapter 4, verses 14 to 16. And this is from today's English version, or Good News Bible. Then we shall no longer be children, carried by the waves and blown about by every shifting wind of the teaching of deceitful men, who lead others into error by the tricks they invent. Instead, by speaking the truth in a spirit of love, we must grow up in every way to Christ, who is the head. Under his control, all the different parts of the body fit together, and the whole body is held together by every joint with which it is provided. So when each separate part works as it should, the whole body grows and builds itself up through love. All right? So in this passage, it's referring to the dangers of false teachers and how the spiritually immature need to develop. I've been talking about this. This is why I did this study. You got to develop your discernment so you can recognize these discrepancies, right? The devil can quote scripture too. He's hoping you don't know it. All right? Christ is recognized as the head because all Christians should follow the example that Jesus provides as an authoritative leader. I mean, look at his time here on earth. They must grow up or spiritually mature by studying the truth of the word to know it for themselves instead of relying on those who could be misleading. See, we were just talking about that. Truth and love are synonymous throughout the Bible. The truth is always better than lies because truth comes from love, but lies come from deceit and evil intent. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. One thing I tell people all the time, I've learned on this journey, authenticity. God can see the real you, so why are you trying to present anything different? If you don't like who you are at your core, turn it over to him and have him help you change it. But you should not be deceitful. Here's our questions for reflection. What things seem to be off balance in your relationships with others? Question 21. How has dishonesty affected other relationships in your life? And question 22. Which lies do you think are more harmful? The lies told to others or the lies told to ourselves? And if we lie to ourselves, does that show that we love ourselves? Yeah, let that one hit home. I spent some time with that one. All right, so that was it for that section, and I will see you in the next one.